Hello everybody, I'm Yvette of DIY Uniquely Yvette, and this week I'm doing two simple projects. I'm keeping them really simplistic and easy just to kind of give myself a little break. I hope you like what I have this week, and it's something that maybe you'll give a try if you get a scroll saw. If you like the projects, give me a thumbs up. If you like what I present here on this channel, subscribe. Also, please remember to give me a comment below telling me what you think of the projects, giving me little hints and ideas of what you think I could do better. And let's not just dilly-dally, let's get straight into the projects. Look at this. I have these two sizes of little owls. So I'm going to cut out the body shape, then the wings, and then the eyes and nose, all separately. And I'm going to make them on these, using these two. I might be able to get both of them out of one board, but I have two scrap pieces of fence picket. And that's what we're going to cut them out of. Hope you can see that. And then I'm going to do his wing. I might be able to do a wing and then cut it out. Cut it in half, thickness wise. So I'm going to try that before I make two wings. And the same with the eyeballs. And the nose. There we go. I realized that if I were to cut the nose out of this thick wood, it's going to be way too thick. So what I did was I cut a piece of strip of wood like this, which is the same thickness, and then I turned it to its side and ran it through the blade to cut it in half. That way the nose will be half the thickness of the original wood. I'm going to try doing that with the eyes and the wings, because see, I can't cut it after the fact, after I cut it out, because I can't hold it without getting my fingers in the blade. So using this long strip, which I can keep a hold of, I hope, while I cut out the nose, I hope that I can get it done. I'm going to try something else. I've got two pieces here. I'm going to hold an eyeball I cut out that I want to make into two, and I'm going to put it between these two pieces of stick, which helps me to hold it better and hopefully run it through the machines more safely. Haha, what? Okay, here are our little owls, sanded somewhat, sanded as well as I'm going to sand, and trying to even things out a lot more. Now what I'm going to do is draw a line down the center and cut them in half. So I've split the owls down the middle. I've also softened these edges right here, made them, rounded them a little tiny bit. I sanded by hand, sort of like just doing this like that, and split them down the middle like I said. I went back to the scroll saw and did some feet. These are basically just the wings attached together instead of cut apart. I made them into feet because I think that they'll need that to stand up. So it'll be something like this, it'll be something like that. I don't know if it'll stand up, but this is what I'm doing. And that's how, yeah, that's how it'll be. And I softened these corners a bit, rounded the corners down the cut line a little bit. So it'll be like this. I feel like the smaller feet need to be bigger, but that's okay. What I'm going to do now is a golden oak stain on all the individual little pieces here. Not right on the body just yet. If you stain pine without conditioning it first, it could stain blotchy. I don't want it to be blotchy, so I'm actually going to just wet it first. That raises the grain on it, which will hopefully help it not to be blotchy. Alternatively, you could use preconditioner that you buy from like Home Depot or somebody. I'm just gonna let these sit for about 15 minutes. I'm probably gonna dry off some of this water from it so it's not sopping wet. So 15 minutes should take care of that. Okay, now we're ready to use golden oak stain on these. We'll let that dry, and then we will go move on to the body of the owls. So what I've done here is tape up this middle section of both owls, and I'm going to stain the rest of it with dark walnut stain. There, that's pretty. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that rich brown. Now we're going to let that dry, and then we'll remove this tape and see what it looks like under there. The dark walnut isn't dry, but I just went on and took the tape off. I don't know what I think of this. And then like I said, I should have just done this first, because I think it would have been better if I taped off what was already done. What I'm doing right here is trying to wet the wood a little bit so that when I do this part, it'll potentially be ready for stain. So we're going to go back to the golden oak. Now we're going to start gluing the parts onto the owls. So we'll start with some glue. continuing on with our simplistic projects, we have here a little kitty. He is this, you can't tell by this picture that it's going to be cute, but it will be. And I have this strip of fence picket. I think that I'm going to make 2 kitties and the heart. And well, not the base won't be part of this, but this one piece should make the 2 kitties and the heart, their eyes, their bodies, their heads. I think this one little thin piece will make the whole thing, except for the base. I think I'm gonna have to dig into my stash for the base. But let's get started with this. I think this project proves that we can do so much with the scroll saw. I love the scroll saw. I just can't get enough of it. And so, actually, you know what? I intended to do his whole head and body as one piece, but since this is off-centered, I guess I'm gonna have to do them separately. So as per usual, we just trace out the head. Since the last project, I discovered I could split everything to make 2. The kitties will be meant to be identical except for their color scheme. But of course, because I'm cutting with this scroll saw and it is hand cutting, really, it is kind of by hand. And you know, my hand can't do the exact same thing twice. They will not be identical in that regard. See, I was able to cut this tail out of here. What I'm going to do is now brace it between 2 pieces of wood and cut it in half so that I can make 2 tails for 2 cats. And now 1 tail becomes 2. I'm going to do the same thing for the heart. I'm probably going to keep the thickness, but the tail of the heart is going to stay with the string of the heart is going to stay with the heart as one piece, hopefully. And I'm not going to split it and make it thinner because I only need 1 heart. I found a piece of scrap wood. So what I'm going to do is probably try to go here as far as I can here, and then go up to this hole and then cut straight across here. And then maybe that'll be the base. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move this cat in some more like this. And I ended up having to cut off a little bit of the tail because it needed to clear his head and also have a flat edge to be glued against his body. So it'll be like that. And I want to cut across here like this with the miter saw. Cut across here just to get this rectangle. I think before I put it on the base, I'm going to glue the parts of the cat together first. So I'm going to glue, oops, that's a bit much. Glue the neck, this guy, to this. And the top of my necks are not really that close, but I'm not going to worry about that because I think it just gives it a little bit more character with his head turned to the side. I think this needs to be pressed tighter. And then the tail, what I want to do is put it in towards the middle of the body, not one side, not either to the front or the back. I decided to, after I put the glue on between the head and the body, to tape it up to keep it tightly secured together until the glue dried. I also decided I would use hot glue for the tail to attach the tail so that it can have an instant hold and maybe stay on there better, since I don't have to, with the hot glue, I don't have to just hold it in place forever. One thing is, I'm not entirely sure I like these tails the way they are, because they're so tiny that it's hard to get it. Sanded well. So another option, you know, if this is something you would end up making, another option would be to use wire or pipe. What is it called? Pipe cleaner. A pipe cleaner for the tails, and for actually this, because you could potentially shape the pipe cleaner. I'm not sure how stiff you could get it so that this little wooden heart would sit on top and it would keep its little bent shape. I don't know, but it would definitely work for the tails. But I'm going to stick with this and just hot glue it on to my little kitty cats. Let me see, is this the right one? I think it is. I hope it is. Put it on here like this. See how I'm putting it in the middle of the body and not toward the front or the back. And I think I'll just hold it there for a second until the glue dries, and then it's in place. See? I cut the base of this tail off at a sort of flat angle so that it could have a flat surface to sit flush against the side of his body. And I think I just glued it to the wrong, well, I guess it'll have to be this way. Oh, that make easy. I just don't know how long it'll stay on there, if it's gonna stay on there forever or what. But anyway, that's that. And then I'm going to let them dry for a couple hours. Then I'll paint. Like I said, I think I'm going to paint before I try to attach everything to the base. But I'm going to paint on a flat surface like this with them laying flat. But I will come back after they had some time to dry. I completely forgot to cut out the eyes for the cats, so I did that. I feel like they're a little too big because, I mean, they're supposed to overtake the face a lot more than any other feature, but I feel like they're too much. But whatever, I'm just leaving them. For the girl, I'm going to be using Lime Tree Apple Barrel color. It's just called blue. Neon Black Light Folk Art Blue. And then just a regular Lime Tree. And that's what we'll use for the girl. For the boy, we will be using this khaki matte apple barrel color and the chestnut apple barrel. So let's get started with painting. Okay, now I'm going to give her some stripes using this black Sharpie paint pen. I mean, it's sort of like a separator bar. Now we're going back to the green. When I realized that I was just not going to get under the tail without just causing a disaster, I just pulled it off. So you can see, I'll just reattach it with the hot glue the way I put it on there in the first place. Now I'm going to paint her tail black. I decided not to use the paint pen. I think it would be easier, but I think the paint pen is more expensive, obviously, than this cheap paint. So I'm just going to paint it like this. Now we're ready for our girl cat's eyes. We're going to do a couple coats of white all over. I'm going to do this first coat, and I'll use my heat gun to dry it and do another coat off camera. And then we will do a little bit more detail for her eyes. So I'm going to be using this pool blue paint for her eyes, and we're going to attempt to do an oval shape. And I want her looking to the side over at the Boycat, so I'm going to try to do that. I don't know. I'm not too good at the painting. Let's start small. And make it look similar, I don't know. Okay, I'm trying out this black pen. I don't like the way that looks. There, that's it. I decided to move on to the Boycat before I do the girl's face to give her eyes time to dry. I don't know why I always do this. I need to start on the sides. Actually, I guess it doesn't matter on his head as much. And this time I'm trying to remember to put the black mark at his neckline before I do the rest of the black lines along his body. I'm going to try not to go too fast. I feel myself wanting to rush because I'm coming on the end of my day. And when I stop doing all of my stuff and do something with Mark, my husband Mark. There we go. This color is pretty good. I like it for him, Boycat. I hope the two colors go together well the same way hers did. I think hers really complement each other. They're not exactly what I was going for or had in mind, but like I think I said earlier, this is not obviously, but this is a design based on something I found on Pinterest, and I usually switch up the ideas a little bit to give them my own spin. So this one is pretty close to what the people had, except obviously I used all wood all the time. There we go. His head looks cute. Alright, now we're going to do the black lines like we did with the girl. Her boy cat's eyes are different from the girl cat's eyes in that hers are wide open, but his are going to be half closed. So we're going to do half of his eyeball, the chestnut color of his head, and half of it white, like the whites of your eyes. So we'll do it like that. Try to get for the same thing on the other one. Same level. These eyeballs are so different. They're such different shapes. Okay, ready for white. We'll have the boy looking at the girl the same way that she's looking at him. We're ready to paint the heart, so I'm going at the heart and the base. And now I'm going to do the accent pieces on the cat's